You hold on to me. I've said no and I've let go. I've been moved by the way you hold on to me. You hold on to me. We all knew the greatest love consumed by grace. I could see your face, so I've come back down to my knees, where I can know your mercy flow. I've been cruel and I've
Hello, it's Dean Allen here, and I'm in the capital of Slovakia, which is Bratislava. And we're going to start the tour at, well, is it the most important building? This is the National Parliament. So this is where all the politicians of Slovakia make all those big decisions. Now I'm at the magnificent Bratislava Castle. As you can see, this castle here dates back to the Iron Age. In fact, the first recorded castle was recorded in 907, not 1907, but 907. And it's been restored over the years, predominantly during the 1500s when the Hungarian dynasty were here, and they spent a lot of money making this magnificent building, this Gothic structure. But in fact, there was a fire here in the mid-1800s, which actually demolished this building, as you can see, and it was only rebuilt in the 1950s. But now we have this magnificent monument to Slovakian history right here in the center of Bratislava. And as you can see here, as you pan round, you've got these magnificent gates, and right behind you have this view of the Danube and the city of Bratislava behind you. Right, we're in the old town of central Bratislava here, and this wonderful building you can see behind me is the Slovakia National Theatre. It was built in 1886. In fact, the first performance was a year later in 1887. And it's home to the National Ballet, National Opera, and all those great performances. But that lovely water fountain that you can see behind me, that was actually completed a year later in 1888 by an Austrian sculptor called Victor Tignal. And if you look around you, you can see this vibrant square is the central feature of Bratislava. Finish our tour of Bratislava today here in the main square. The population of this city is 550,000, which is about 10% of the population of Slovakia. The building behind me, you see, that's the Natural History Museum of Bratislava, which is a fantastic place to visit. But we've really enjoyed our visit here today, and I hope one day you'll get the chance to come yourself. Until the next time, have a good day.
So let's get going with Sandy's coffee break. Ooh, welcome to the show. Now it's your turn to shine. We're gonna have a lekker chat tonight. Another good time.
Carl,
Sandy,
welcome.
Thank you.
It's so exciting to have you here. I've been meaning to talk to you for a very long time.
Well, I'm glad I'm finally here then,
Good.
in that case.
And we want to welcome Marion, your wife. She's hiding away. She refuses to come on, but we're waving to her. Sorry, we have to give her a nod. And to Gary, thank you very much for producing our show. There he is, right on it. And just to give you a bit of heads up, if you want to ask Carl any questions, just pop it on the side and on the comments, and we will get to them. Wendy Sean says, really looking forward to this, so am I. And Jennifer Lindridge, you've got some of your fans here.
See
People
that.
in your book.
Hecklers.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to heckle from there. But really, I really mean it. Thank you for sharing your time and your thoughts and your work, which we're going to look at, and we're going to unpack a few things.
Cool.
But for mostly, we're going to start off with this image behind us before we get into the meat of stuff. And I want to know about this image.
Okay, this is from a series I did, a body work called Freedom of Expression. It was actually an exhibition I had in London in 2019, which were images of the holding cells down in Balkans Valley.
The holding cells, like prison.
Yeah. They're sealed up in 1984.
How did you know about them?
I know the owner of the property.
Oh, that helps. Yeah.
And so he gave me access to it to photograph it. The cells were last painted, I think it was in 1975. And in 1984, they were shut down and sealed.
Why
So
were
they've
they
been
sealed?
untouched since then. That I don't know. I don't know the question to that
It's got a
one.
mystery in that.
And this work is called Beyond the Walls. The full title is Beyond the Walls, Careful What You Wish For. And it's a collaboration I did with Andrew Mackenzie.
From Boomtown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rooftop.
Rooftop now.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, Andrew.
And so what I did, I printed this image, which is a stitched image. It's about 60 or 70 photographs that I've stitched together to create the one.
Okay.
All shot on digital Hasselblad, so it's uber high res.
Yeah.
And then I printed it to 1.5 by 3 meters in size.
And that's
Then
big.
Andrew did the ink drawings on it. So all the ink drawings are on the wall above, on the
Okay, I
white.
can see.
And then
So
behind
below- the
me
black-
is a
Oh, yeah,
manhole
let's see.
cover.
Oh
You
my
can just
gosh.
see between the... if I move that up.
Oh, I can see. Oh
There.
my gosh. That's a proper manhole cover.
No, that he drew that in.
He drew that.
Yeah,
Oh my
just to
gosh.
balance it a bit.
And just tell me about the collaboration. So, what was the brief to Andrew, or did you come to some sort
Well,
of?
Andrew and I came together with the person, together with the buyer. He commissioned the work.
Oh, it was commissioned. Okay, I'm with you.
And
Okay.
well, we've always wanted to do it. We
Yeah.
planned to do it with somebody else, and that fell through. And then we spoke to the buyer about it, and he was very keen. He said, "No, I want this. If that person doesn't want it, I want it."
Cool.
And all he asked for, he said, "Could we put bits of Port Elizabeth in there?" And I just straight away said, "No, this is not a tourist thing. This is a piece of artwork that Andrew and I are doing together." But then we actually caved in, and over there is the Mount Road Police Station.
Yeah.
based
Oh,
on
I
the
can
Mount Road
recognise
Police
it, yeah.
Station. And then obviously the power station. Sorry,
And then something's up.
everything's back to front, damn it.
I know. Is that
and then the
the-
power station over there.
And is that the not the bird behind the building? What is that building?
No, it's not City
Oh,
Hall.
okay.
It's not our City Hall, no.
All right.
So we brought in the Mount Road Police Station, we brought in the old power station.
And the birds, obviously, freedom, right?
Yeah,
When you're in a prison.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. But then beyond the walls, you can see where the Mount Road Police Station is it left or right-hand side? But near the bird, you can see it's starting to fall apart.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
see that.
destroyed. It's
Okay.
There's destruction
wow.
outside. So
Yeah.
therefore,
Yeah.
beyond the walls, careful what you wish for.
And the narrative of this is just so deep and so rich. So where is this photograph now?
The original is with the collection of the buyer. It's he built a house and gallery in Rijeka Kasteel.
Oh, in South
And it's-
Africa.
yeah,
Okay,
so it's
cool.
staying in his permanent collection in South Africa.
Okay,
which is great.
that's amazing.
Because
that's
it's also
massive.
symbolic of people's lives, of what their
Oh,
lives,
yeah.
what they get into, and how they get caged within their lives.
Yeah, there's a
It's
deep
also,
narrative
yeah.
around. I mean, it sort of hits everybody.
Yeah.
You don't have to have been in that prison to have been
Yeah.
in that prison,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
But Andrew and I have done a few collaborations together. I love working together with him. He's seriously talented.
Oh no, he's
Everything
magnificent.
pen and ink, and people think, oh, this has been done digitally, but it's not. It's,
I've got a piece of his art on my wall. I'm
Mm.
very happy with that. Okay, so let's get down to you.
Okay,
All right, so Carl,
braces himself.
there we go. In 3 words, describe yourself.
In 3 words.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you really threw that on me, didn't you?
Carl has not seen my
open.
questions.
Yeah, open. I'm going to be so cliched friendly because
No,
I
but
believe I
don't
am.
worry about the cliches.
And Marion can give me the third one.
No, Mary's next question. No, you have to get her next. She's going to answer the next question. even
Open,
if from afar.
open, friendly, and honest.
Oh, I would agree.
I believe
with
so.
that.
I believe I am.
How would you
'cause-
describe him? 3 words. She doesn't want to be on the shot. Come on, you just got married. You have to know.
Friendly.
Friendly. direct. I would agree with that.
Honest.
Did I give you the answer?
And very creative.
Yes, thank you. Very creative. There you go. Marion said it best out of all of us.
Yeah. Well, look, if you could ask, the reason I say honest is if you ask me a question, I'm going to give you an honest answer whether you like it or not.
That stands to your honesty.
So now it's time to prove it. Put my
Okay,
money where
so
my mouth is.
What were you like as a...
Jennifer's got a...
Oh, what is Jennifer? Oh, Jennifer, thank you. Generous, empathetic, and loyal. Yeah, I love that, Jenny. And talented. Totally. Yeah.
Jen and Rob are very, very close friends of ours.
Yeah, I know.
Within our
I know.
very small circle of friends.
I know. The ones that you go and visit and you don't visit me.
Dry your eyes.
Just saying. Okay, so what were you like as a 12-year-old?
As a 12, I was a little shit.
In what way?
I'm the youngest of 4 kids. So always known as the Benjamin. We thought I was spoilt, and I was naughty. I did my own thing and was got full of mud, and it drove my siblings insane.
Yeah.
I was that irritating little brother.
Do you
And
still?
I'm always the little brother.
Yeah, you're still brother than
I'm
Matt.
56 years old. I'm the youngest of 4 and I'm the little brother. Mary and I were talking about it the other day. It doesn't matter what happens, you're always the little brother. You always get to sleep on the sofa.
Oh, yeah, no.
not in the
I've got a
nice
little
room.
brother the same. Yeah.
So,
So-
12 years old, wow.
When did you know you wanted to be a photographer?
Actually, I don't have a direct answer to that, but when I was a kid, I always had a camera with me on holidays, and there was those little 110 cameras.
Yeah,
where
you
they
remember
kind of
them, I
flipped
know,
over and
yeah.
it became a handle
Yes.
with a spool. So I was always taking photos. Got loads of photo albums of photos I took as a kid, whether we were on holiday or whatever, and I just carried on doing that. And I was always being creative, wanted to be creative, and ended up studying a Bachelor of Fine Arts at BFA, sorry,
At Rhodes.
Yeah, at Rhodes, where I did photography as my major. So, and it's just interested in capturing images and freezing life.
Yeah.
And more than that is that I get to force people to see things my way.
Oh, just elaborate on that.
Well, as soon as I take a photo of something,
Oh, okay, it's your perspective.
yeah, so it's
Yeah,
my
I get you.
perspective, it's how I've seen it, and I guess what, you're going to see it that way too, whether you like
Yeah.
it or not.
But it might not land the same way as the way that you took it.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no artwork does that.
Yeah.
Art
Because
is
there's a
in the-
triangle.
Yeah, it's in the
It's
eye of the
a-
beholder and all the rest of it.
It's true, yeah.
It's what
Studies
people
that we
get
did.
out of it, it's more important. Nobody gives a shit what the artist thought.
And tell me about Rhodes. Tell me about, I know that Obi Oberholzer, he lectured you, and tell me
Yeah.
about the influence about him. And
Sure. Very, very fortunate to have Obi as
So much.
a teacher. Very, very fortunate.
And why? What's about him?
Exuberant, full of life, and he lets you do what you need to do. How do I explain it? Let me give you an example. Sometimes I get students coming to me from university to come talk to me.
Sure.
Like they'll look at my work and say, "Oh, you use butterfly lighting now." I'm kind of going, "What the
What
hell's
the hell's butterfly
Yeah,
lighting?
what the hell's butterfly
What you-
lighting? It's a technical term, yeah. And I have no idea. And the way Obi taught us with studio lighting, for example, is close your eyes, see the shot, and then do it. And then
Close
light
your
it
eyes, see
accordingly.
the shot. Oh,
He showed us how
nice.
lights worked and what they did, but basically it was up to you. Figure
So you
it
don't
out.
start with the lights. You start
Yeah,
with.
you start with the image.
what you have.
Yeah, what you want to
Yeah.
end up with.
I mean, that's actually quite amazing freedom when you study,
Yeah.
because I don't think I had that when I studied. You know, we learned the technical stuff, and we learned how to do lighting, so and so and so. And then we were sent off to do a crit. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was a bit more freedom.
Yeah, there was a lot more freedom, going out to do prac work and stuff like that. But a lot of us were very influenced by Obi at the time. And a lot of very good photographers came out.
Totally,
Yeah,
your era.
Tony
with him.
Mankeys, for example, Tim Hopwood,
Tony
Philip
Makers,
Mostert.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And so, just going back to those university days, what would you tell someone who's just newly graduated from photography?
Doing
now?
photography. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully they've made the right choice in the first place. Because if you're doing photography because you want to be cool, that's not a reason to do it.
Yeah,
You've got to live and breathe it.
you do.
You've got to really, really love it and want to do it. And coming out of varsity with a degree in photography is find somebody you can follow, find somebody who can mentor you. A lot of people go out straight on their own. Some make it, some don't. So.
And what's the
it's like-
difference between those who do and those who don't, in your mind?
Because sometimes being taught at varsity, you're taught the technical side of it, and you're taught to see what you can do yourself in creating and capturing images. But when you go out into the real world, it depends what sort of photography you're getting into. If you get into wedding photography, it's one thing. But if you get into commercial photography, there's a lot of things that they might not teach you at varsity about commercial photography. For example, I just invented a new word.
You see, you're creative. He's creative.
You might be given, while you're being taught photography, your one assignment is to photograph a bottle of beer. But you're given a week to do it.
Yeah.
You go out into the real world, photograph a bottle of beer. By the way, we needed it yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
So the deadlines are tighter. It's more real, and there's tricks that you learn along the way in that. So I think it's always good to follow a more experienced photographer in the beginning.
And for me, I know you well, and I know you work well, and I know what you do. And it seems to me that you have an amazing ability to be technically completely on it, and yet you have this creative thing that just goes into stratosphere and blows us away. And how do you mix your left and your right brain with that?
Yeah, good question. First of all, the cameras we get nowadays are so high tech, and you can get away with just about anything, especially the dynamic range they have of bringing out deep shadow details and that. All the cameras I've owned since going digital, I've left on factory default.
Really?
I haven't changed a thing of it coming out of the factory because it's a camera, it's a tool. I learnt using film cameras into completely manual cameras. Yeah. And you got to do it yourself, get it right in camera.
Yeah.
So I don't add filters and things like that. I shoot it as I see it and try to get it right in camera.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that's the discipline of being taught analog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the creativity comes into it is how you capture the shot, how you frame that shot without even thinking about it, what angles you're using. Post-production, minimal. Post-production, color corrections, do some cleanup and that sort of thing. I try not to do more than that. Because if you haven't got it right in camera, and pardon their phrase, start with shit, end with shit.
Yeah, what you put in.
Stop trying to save a shot by editing it.
So that would be a good piece of advice to tell someone just coming out. You can't save a bad shot.
Excuse me, true.
You can't save a bad shot. Yeah, and we've seen so many of that stuff coming out. Like you, I've also done a bit of lecturing and whatever. You start off, get it right in camera.
Exactly.
And so how much post-production do you do? I know you said minimal, but kind of just take me through would be, you take a shoot, you get it right.
Yeah.
Exposure right. You pull it through into the digital, into Lightroom.
Yeah, I use Lightroom for my post-production.
What is your average on one well-shot image?
On one well-shot image, wow. Okay, so obviously white balance.
Yeah.
Correct the white balance on there.
Unless you did it.
No, I leave.
Factory
the camera in factory settings.
Oh yeah, forget.
So I'll do the white balance afterwards.
No,
that's why
I've spent
billions developing these cameras and software.
Yeah.
So let the software get the white balance for you. It's probably, if any photographers watching this, they're probably shaking their heads right now.
No, I'm learning. I mean, I'm thinking I should go back to factory settings tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll adjust the contrast slightly. Maybe bring the brightness setting, not brightness setting, the white. Oh God, I've just gone blank.
No, that's okay. I know what you mean.
But there's this lovely tool Lightroom brought out recently called dehaze.
I've seen it. I love it.
Oh, it's fantastic. So I put hint of dehaze, hint of clarity, then I apply it to all the images, and then I go through images one by one to do subtle changes.
Yeah, and that depends on the image and what you want to
on the image.
So it's not a lot.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you studied with Tim Hopwood.
That's right.
So he's just come on and said you can't polish a turd.
Thank you, Tim.
Mark Bailey, how's it, Mark?
Right.
Love you too. Love you too. Love that you're back in South Africa too, just by the way. So that's
Tim.
Tim, yeah, exactly. So for me, the beauty and the pros of digital versus analog, what are they for you?
Look, I've completely converted to digital. Yeah. There are people that still shoot. Tim, for example, shoots on analog. He swears
Shame, I hope you get his negatives back.
Yeah, Tim, I hope so. Yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
Jeez, so just rough. For the audience, Tim Hopwood had all his negatives stolen from his car. Shame. I hope you get them back to me.
I hope you got them all scanned.
I think
he's got some. I think some of them are scanned, but not all of them.
Okay,
yeah, but that's rough. Back to what was the question again?
The question is pros and cons of digital and analog.
Okay. One of the pros I found with analog is that you got to know what you're doing.
And you got to think about what you're doing.
You got to think about. You got to counter every shot. You got to know what you're doing. I used to travel around the world doing mining work with a bag full of film. for 3 weeks, and you come back at the end of the week with a bag of exposed film, you dump it at the lab, and you go off and drink somewhere.
And the poor
and
lad
hope
guy.
like hell that
Yeah.
you got it right. And also we used to shoot on posies, so we didn't shoot on negative
So
film.
just
it was
tell
on
what
training
is a posies on?
a slide film.
Slide
So
film,
slides. So you should shoot a slide film. With negatives, you've got to stop either way of light. So you can get it wrong by having it too bright or a little bit too dark. But only a little bit either way. You can save it when you print and make it lighter or darker. When you're shooting a slide film, you can't. It's got to be
No,
perfect.
it's very, very technical.
It's got to be spot on.
Yeah,
So that the good thing about analog is that you had to know what you're doing.
yeah.
And back then there were very few wedding photographers
Because
they're shooting an
geez,
analog, and you can't screw up a wedding. You can't reshoot it. So you got to know what you're
geez.
doing.
Did you shoot weddings?
I did one or two.
Jeez,
I
cut
think
my
in my
teeth on
entire
weddings.
career, I think I did 5 weddings in my entire
No, I
career.
cut my teeth on weddings.
Yeah.
I give it my advice to young photographers: go and shoot weddings.
Yeah, yeah. I always say never say no to work. So with weddings, I just give a price to scare them away.
Oh, yeah.
And if they accept it,
Well, then you're going to go.
then I'll give
You're
it a
good
go. And
value.
also, I'm not a wedding photographer. Although
yeah, no. Well,
they
so
are
what sort
quite
of
fun.
photographer are you?
I call myself an industrial commercial photographer. So doing industrial work, specifically mining, and commercial work for ad agencies and some magazines. My style is I call shoot from the hip. Is my style.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
So
it's very
I
documentary.
work very, very documentary.
Yeah,
I work
yeah.
very, very quickly.
I mean, even your portraiture is documentary. I absolutely love that. So we're going to talk a little bit about your book.
Cool.
Okay, and then we're going to go back to your mining images. So
I'm going to drink more wine.
drink wine. Everyone else, I hope you're drinking some
Cheers.
wine too. We're having a little sip because we're talking so much.
I see my glass has been barcoded.
Oh, yeah, no, it has, just in case you leave with it. So tell me about your book. Do you want to pull up one of the images, Gary? Yeah, okay. Tell us about Before the Veil, and let me just, for everyone else, here it is. I've got my note.
Post-it notes and all. Oh, it's
Yeah,
confusing.
post-it notes,
It
yeah,
is
it's
back
this
to
way.
front, damn it.
So, Carl, I want to know about this beautiful, beautiful project of yours. Where it started, what it means to you, how it happened. Go for it.
Okay. I've been wanting to do a body of work like this for a very long time, for years. And what stopped me was, well, I'm working and it's finding the time. So good thing about COVID, was silver lining about COVID, is that I got to get into a lot of personal projects. One was the book, other one was a collaboration I did with 8 other artists, and there's a whole lot of other stuff.
Well, I want to hear about that just now, yeah.
And so this body of portraiture I've been wanting to do, I'm repeating myself, for a long time. And it was capturing people with very, very unflattering lighting and getting them wrinkles, blemishes and all. But I wanted a very specific background, and that I struggled with for a long time, is because I knew the I could see the background in my head, but I just couldn't work out what it was until one day it hit me and it's underfelt from a carpet.
And how did you get to that? Was it just like a bliksem moment?
I saw a dog blanket, and dog blankets are very similar,
Yeah,
but they're only
they
a
are.
meter by a meter. And
Yeah.
I thought, where do I get it? And I thought, construction industry, they hang them up for dust in it.
And what was it about that background that was so relevant for this?
The texture. It was just a texture. It was a texture that's.
You
It
can
makes
see
the
it, yeah,
background
yeah.
a little bit busy, but it's busy that it pushes the subject forward as well. Instead of just having a plain color or light shining across it or something like that, I wanted something with some texture in it.
So the contextual part of that would be texture of life. Like, is that what it is?
I'll go
Is
with that.
You'll go with that.
I'll go
Okay,
with
good.
that.
Okay.
The interesting thing about that underfelt as well, that I found out from Jonathan Kapelis, is because he gave me the piece.
Yeah.
Big,
Oh,
nice
good.
4x5 meter piece. I was like,
Yeah, I
yes.
was there, yeah.
Is that it's made from prison uniforms, recycled prison and army uniforms from Russia and China.
You're joking.
Yeah, that's what he told me,
My
Jonathan.
gosh.
So yeah, so that made it even
That's
more
quite
interesting.
something.
Yeah, I know. It's
What's the
quite
thing with
interesting.
prisons and you? What's going on?
I don't know. I don't know. Just as long as I don't end up
keep
in
them
one.
inside.
Yeah. So I've been wanting to do this for ages,
Yeah.
and capturing people in a harsh environment, in harsh lighting. So it doesn't make them ugly, but it brings out the truth in everybody's face of what they're on, what they've earned through life, whether it's through joy, hardship, pain, love, laughter, frowns, whatever.
And Before the Veil means what?
Before the veil, as a photographer, and most photographers hopefully agree with me, when you start shooting people, they go into pose mode.
Always.
Straight away, they'd like, put the camera down, you get this beautiful smile. As soon as you pick up the camera, that smile's disappear, and it becomes a smile they practiced in the mirror that morning. And before the veil, so I always say there's a veil comes up. So I'm trying to capture people before that veil actually lifts and before they go into pose mode and try to get the real person.
And how do you do that? How did you do that?
Well, you know, because
I know, yeah,
take
you
everybody
photographed
off
me,
guard.
Yeah,
So-
yeah,
So I had the studio set up, same background, same lighting, same chair with every person. A lot of people would walk and see the chair and start moving towards it, and I'd stop them. I said, no, I get ready first.
Oh,
And the
wow.
chair's back to front. So I'd sit down, get comfortable, and get ready with my camera, and I'd go sit like a stripper. Because I've got to sit back to front, the chair back to front, and straight
What a
away that
stripper.
puts them on edge. Straight
Yeah.
away that's like, what?
Yeah.
And as they start sitting down, I'm shooting. And by the
So
time
it's
they
about
come to
timing.
in the chair, it's about time.
So it's getting there before they have a chance, because I know, and maybe somebody who's been in the book, maybe Tim, you can also tell us what it was like in Jenny
Tim,
Lindridge.
Jen,
Yeah, what it was like for me was it caught me so off guard that, and it was over in 30 seconds, and I almost felt vulnerable and I felt exposed, which is exactly what you wanted,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, I did feel that. I felt like I wanted to go back the next day and look pretty.
yeah. The average was about 90 seconds that the shoot took,
Oh.
on average. Some people took a little bit longer because I just couldn't get it, and then I started chatting and bantering with them, then it stretched to maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But the
that's very
majority,
quick, eh?
90 seconds.
That's very quick. And I read in your forward, here.
You wrote that.
Oh, not the forward.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
I read
one.
the forward, but no, the
It's like,
introduction.
I read in the
Yeah,
forward
yeah, sorry,
that
I
she
wrote in
wrote
the
herself.
forward.
Yeah.
I read in your piece that sometimes and quite often it's extended into a conversation afterwards on
Yes.
your balcony. So just tell us about that.
I always say that when you photograph people, you need to have some sort of connection with that person to do portraiture.
Even in 90 seconds.
Even in 90 seconds, there's got to be a connection, like shooting, like I do a lot of corporate work.
Yeah.
And trying to get photos of executives board where it's in the middle of the board meeting, it's a break, some will come and get photo taken. And you've literally got half a minute.
Yeah.
And you've got to try and
exactly.
get some sort of reaction out of them. And there you can't really get a connection. There I use my mouth. I sometimes get downright rude and
Does he?
apologize afterwards, and it just gets a reaction
Yeah.
out of them.
But you get
There's
it.
one chairman of the board, I'm not going to mention names,
Which
he came,
industry?
his
Give us an
tie
industry. No,
was
I'm only
slightly
joking.
skewed. His tie was slightly skewed. We're talking mining companies. And so I said, why didn't you get your mother to dress you this morning? And he kind of went, the tie skewed straight
and
aside,
then he
and then he started laughing because he realized what I was doing. And I
Oh,
got
God.
the most amazing shot of him.
Yeah, but it's such a skill to do that
Yeah.
as a photographer.
But with the book, I started off with, because I always say you need to have a relationship with a person to get the image.
Yeah.
But this one I wanted to make a little bit more
Edgy. Yes.
before
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But I know all the people I photograph, I know them.
No, that you
So
do.
that
yeah.
does help. So a lot of the people we'd have a shoot and we'd go have a cup of coffee afterwards. And on some of them, they opened up even more about their life and during coffee. So I actually swapped it around after a while. After about 10, 15 people, I think we had coffee first. I said, come, let's have a cup of coffee, let's have a chat. And then said, okay, let's go get the photograph.
And they still didn't know you were going to blitz on them in
they
90
didn't.
seconds.
They'd walk
yeah.
past and they saw the set.
So
and
what
all
did
the
that
rest of
give
it.
you? That background? What did that tea and coffee give you? That
It gave me more of a connection than I had, because some of the
Okay.
people told me stuff that I hadn't heard before
yeah,
from them.
yeah.
And there's one person in particular who I wasn't going to photograph. And when we were talking and she told me her story, I said, I want to get your photo. Come, let's go do it. And yeah, I'm not going to point out which person that is. It's quite a
So
personal one.
Jenny Lindridge says, Sandy, you summed the experience up about being vulnerable. Tom said, I didn't feel vulnerable or exposed. We hang out together a bit, so I felt pretty at ease. Okay, oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim,
Yeah,
I've
but
known-
Tim you've known forever, so...
Yeah, geez, I met Tim in 1988, 89.
Tim, did you like your photograph? If you can hear me.
If he's watching, I think he can.
He can, he
Oh
better
God,
be.
everybody hates a wise ass, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a 30-second delay. So.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Let's wait 30 seconds.
Yeah, we will. Okay, so but in the meantime,
So
I just
Louisa,
want to,
by the way,
Louisa, tell
she's-
us about this image.
Oh, that's Louisa. She's my friend Kanya, it's her mom that I've met a few times. And she's an extremely intelligent person, but she's just loads and loads of fun.
She looks it.
Yeah, and she is. She's delightful.
And tell me about the modus operandi. So you photographed him, and then how did you get the text in the interview?
Okay. So what I did after I photographed them, I normally edited the same day and sent the images to them on the same day. So I WhatsApped the images to people and I said, "They're yours. Do what you like with them. Just credit me."
At this stage, you weren't thinking about a book, eh?
No, I was.
Oh, you were? Okay.
No, I was thinking about a book.
Okay.
And
Sorry, Tim said it made me look quite serious, but I did like it. Okay, cool.
here's a relief.
Sure. Yeah.
From photographer to photographer and photographer.
Exactly. And photography.
And where were we?
No, about the text.
Yes, okay, thank you. Sure. So after I photographed, sent them the images. So there was, during the time I photographed everybody, it was over a period of about 5-6 months, give or take. But Facebook and Instagram kept on having photographs of this style.
Yeah.
Because everybody would post them.
Yeah,
everybody posted. I had all the time, which was pretty cool. And then about a month or two after I photographed everybody, I sent them a statement along the lines of, how do you feel your portrait how do you feel your portrait compares to how you see yourself and how you think other people see you?
Yeah.
Which is quite a hectic thing to answer, because like, whoa, hang on a minute.
Yes.
And their answers became the captions for their photographs. Some had to be slightly edited, because some people spoke about the experience of being photographed by me, which I didn't want.
Yeah.
The book's not about me, it's about them.
Okay.
It's pictures about them, not pictures of them.
So Louisa said, unraveling that naughty and crazy side of me, which I love.
Yeah. That was one of the times I actually caught her not laughing, because hers took a bit longer.
Give us the next image, Gary. Oh, that's okay. Let me just get to his.
Ant.
In the meantime, talk about Ant. We know that he is an artist.
Of note, he's moved to Ruby Castile. The common thread amongst everybody in the book is me and Paul Elizabeth Ortelberger.
Okay, beautiful.
And like Anthony lives in Ruby Castile. So for some of the photos, for some of the people, I went to Ruby Castile to get to photograph Anthony, Peter, Anton Momberg.
Yeah, I saw that,
And Mike Spittle. And then I went to Cape Town to photograph Warren Peterson, Bag.
He's your tattoo guy?
Yeah, he's done a lot of my tattoos, nice, and my brother, from another mother.
So, yeah, I know that you're very close. So Anthony said, whatever is hidden, which is quite scary, whatever is hidden shall be revealed.
And that's what I love that comment, because that's quite, it's about
true.
what I was trying to do.
100%.
That's
exactly what you wanted, the revealing.
Yeah, in their honesty and who they really are.
So Gino said, I felt like, hell, that was quick. Karl, you certainly got me candidly. And you did. But Gino's image is quite serious compared to what he
exactly.
is. Yeah.
His comment was along the lines of the backstage Gino.
Yeah, totally, behind the scenes. MJ says, brilliant work, Karl.
MJ is my sister, so she's biased.
Oh, she's allowed to say that. Okay, all right. Okay, let's move on to another one. So that's Ahmed. Let's find Ahmed. Tell me what Ahmed is to you, who he is to you.
I actually met him. I met him in PE, but this is a bit of a cheat because he doesn't live in PE.
Okay, but you met him in PE. That will do that.
So it's close enough for Ahmed because he's a wonderful man. He was consulting at Boomtown at the time in advertising. He's executive creative director at a number of agencies, and he's just a wonderful, wonderful man.
So he says, every day I strive. You can see it in the picture. If you look at that photograph, like, what do you see? Like, before I even read it, I see joy. And what he said was...
I see a sense of humor as well.
Yeah, totally. He says, every day I strive to find the joy in the little moments and rather collect good feelings instead of collecting the things of this world that don't matter. God, that's amazing.
You should follow him on Instagram.
I will, 100%.
And he comes up with a lot of stuff like that on Instagram.
I love that. That's super cool. I really love what he said. That's very good.
So it's very easy to choose his image.
Yeah.
For that. Because...
Yeah.
I only chose the images that are the image to use in the book after I got everybody's comments.
Because you have to go together.
Sometimes it can be in contrast too. You think that, but look at your picture.
Yeah.
But on the whole, about 90% of them, I made sure it sort of worked nicely together.
It did. It came together so beautifully. Before you get sued. Okay, on to the next. My sister Wendy Shawn says these images are outrageously brilliant. I think so too.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right, next one. Oh, man, this is a girl we both love to death. Amy.
She just had her 40th.
I saw that. Yeah. So I think I didn't meet Amy through you, but I met her through Teresa Hardman, who's also in the book.
Yeah.
We're going to get you. Tell me about Amy and how you chose
I
the
met
shots.
Amy. I've known Amy for years since I've been in Port Elizabeth.
I'm just
And
looking
if
for
you if you go through her Facebook feed or Instagram feed, where you even see photos of her, she's always straight at the camera, big smile.
Yeah, that's why I was curious.
Excuse me. And then I just love. There's another photo of her where she was actually getting out the chair, so half of it's not even in the image, which I love as well.
I think
But
she
I
posted
really
those,
like this
yeah.
one because it was quite introspective.
I love
And I
that.
think this is what this book has made a lot of people do, to be introspective by that statements I sent them.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It actually made me, I mean, what I wrote eventually ended up in the forward because I had to really dig deep and decide what it was that you were asking me.
Oh, a lot of people like you hated their images in the beginning. Absolutely hated them. I think you hated them in the beginning. I think
I think I saw a lot of truth in my image.
Yeah.
I think it's just hard to realize that at 61 you're actually classified as old and wrinkly, and I don't do
But
any.
you're not.
Well, I am, but I don't. It is my no. But my wrinkles and stuff are all very. That's who I am, and what it did for me was allow me the possibility that I earned it,
Yeah.
and that it was okay. And I wasn't going to try and chase my youth with Botox and stuff. It was just never going to be part of my makeup. But I did look at it and go, geez, are you that old? But I am. I'm 61, which is, 2/3
Yeah,
of my life.
you're not that old. You're 61.
Thank you, but I am. Okay, so what Amy said, she's not near my age. She said it was just me, human, middle-aged. Oh, I love this. Still hopeful, but with some pages written, bold, incomplete, and unfolding. Oh man, I love that.
No, she's awesome.
She is,
And that's why I
flipping
chose
awesome.
that.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that she's behind the chair. Actually, you can see it.
Yeah, some of them I pulled out and got some more of the chair in the shot.
Yeah. Okay, Gary, next one.
Oh,
That's Andrew.
Andrew
That's your partner
Mackenzie.
in crime.
yeah.
Tell me about Andrew.
Very good friend of mine. We became friends over the years. Initially, he was a client when he was at Boomtown, so I used to do some photography for them. And we just hit it off. We've become great friends, spent quite a lot of time together. He is a real person.
He's totally.
I think he gives a shit.
He does give a shit. And what he writes is, I think others see me as confident. I think I certainly try and live up to that. This image shows that a bit, but it also shows another side to me. I am, in reality, far more insecure. I don't like large groups of people. In fact, the less people, the better. I am at heart an introvert. And I think the confidence is just a cover-up and a cloak. A facade, maybe, but applied through necessity. And you know what's interesting is I know Andrew well as well. Not as well as you do, but I know him. And in that, you can see exactly what he says.
Yeah.
There's a vulnerability in that image.
And I think a lot of people are surprised to hear that when they read what
Totally.
Andrew's written.
Yeah, I was.
I think it'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I was.
Brave.
Brave. This is a brave book. I want to tell you, I know that that everybody in here was brave, but you were also brave to put it out there.
Thank you.
And to make it happen. It's a very courageous book.
It's wine.
It's one. Oh, it's... oh,
It wasn't as I intended in the beginning. I wanted it to be a collection of portraits.
yeah.
And the captions as such from that statement, but I didn't realize it would become such an emotional project.
Yeah.
And how it's turned
yeah,
out.
you said that in the
That
book.
it's- yeah.
That it actually became far more emotional.
Yeah, I had some. As a photographer, when you're working and you're taking images, and that's what you're doing. You're focused on getting the image,
Yeah.
Following the brief and delivering on a brief. If it's a paid-for job, if it's your personal work, that's what you're focused on. But there's a lot of photos that I've taken in my life that are quite emotional and quite important to me. And there are some in this book that had that effect on me as well. In that,
Sure.
when you're editing them, that's when it really hits you. And then, as a good friend of mine, Penny, once said, you go out and water the garden in the rain. You go have a good cry in the corner.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love
And
that.
there's a couple of people in this book that
Had that for you.
had that for me, big time.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the next person? Rainer.
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 Oh, Rainer.
Rainer. So we both know Rainer as well, and this is such for me, this was one of the most powerful images that you've taken.
You're not the first person to say that.
Really and truly, this stopped me and took the breath out of me. And I don't know Rainer very well, but I do know, and I'm not going to read his whole story, but Rana has suffered from depression and from anxiety and from, a few mental challenges that he consistently and, overcomes and gets through the next day. And this image, I mean, he's a highly talented human being.
Extremely
and
talented
I really
designer.
love him. And this just, the look in his eyes for me is just so powerful. And was it for you?
Very much so. And if you speak about bravery and being brave, what he has done is so brave, what he wrote in this book. And just before it went into print, so I got hold of him and said, Rainer, it's about to go into print. Are you sure? And he says, absolutely, go for it. He says, I'm cucking myself, but go for it.
I'll just read a little bit of what he said.
Very brave man.
He said, the stigma of being labelled as the other, someone who cannot keep it together, crazy, disconnected, lost, morphe, rejected, weirdo, something I knew as a child because it was my basic to my nature as the colour of my blue eyes, forced me to experience feelings of revulsion and shame. And the telling of my story, being able to say that this is what happened to me, is crucial. It's okay not to be okay. And to make the decision to seek help is not a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of strength. And people who acknowledge their mental health struggles are courageous. And you, Rainer, are the epitome of courage. And I adore you and I adore working with you. Gary, you can read. Ha!
Oh, Ross.
Tell me about Ross. He looks like, I don't know Ross.
Ross is a PE boy.
Yeah?
Grew up in PE. Then he moved to the UK. He was in the UK for about 10 years, I think. And then he came back. He decided he wanted to be back home and work from there. He works with a company called Collaborate Global in the UK. Heads up delivery for them. And does it out of PE.
Wow.
And I met him through the Heritage Cafe down in the
remember
Donkin
that,
Village.
yeah.
And he was looking for a place to rent. And Chef Gustav said to him, well, speak to Karl.
Oh, wow.
And he came and he's been sharing my space with me at the Donkin Village for close on 2 years now.
So he was easy access.
Say again?
He was easy access.
Yes, he
because
was
so
easy
close.
access. Well, actually, no, he's on calls just about all the time.
Okay, so he's a
So it's
busy
getting
boy.
in between calls. So he was easy access.
Okay.
But I didn't
I love that
photograph him
image.
immediately. I waited a while. And he's a very buoyant person. He's very positive. He wants to help everybody. And he's always full of the joys of life.
You can see that.
But yeah, which is why I chose this image.
But what's incredible about this image for me, the two things. One is your crop. And secondly, you keep going around his, if you look at, from understanding
The
how you
curve of
look
the
at
hand, the
photographs.
curve of his t-shirt, the curve of his
and the
glasses.
glasses.
And it keeps
Yeah.
you going in there all the time.
So, I mean, in 90 seconds, that couldn't have been intentional. That would have been instinctive for you.
The crop.
Yeah. No, the whole photograph.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
couldn't have directed that in 90
No.
seconds. So that's just bringing all your experience around how you view things and just know that it works. In
The only
90
cropping
seconds.
I've done is to bring it down to square.
Yeah.
Is to cut off the sides.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you have no choice shooting on a...
But I think my point is that if you
Yeah.
were trying to get that image, you would direct that person. Put your head here, put your hand here.
No.
open up your eyes.
Yeah.
There was
No.
no time for that.
You
So
just
this
did
is
that.
just your instinctive talent that comes through.
Sometimes during the shoot, I do direct in a little way.
Yeah.
If I see I'm not quite getting, I said, bring your hands to your face.
Okay.
But I don't tell them where to put their hands
Yeah,
or
yeah.
anything. Just
Yeah.
bring your hands to your face.
Yeah.
Bring a hand to your face.
I love what MJ said. This is not just a photo book, it's a piece of work that supports others that do not dare to confront themselves and know it's okay. And that's why it's such a courageous book.
I'm
Okay,
very proud of
Gary.
it.
Oh, you should be so proud of it. Yay! Tell me about this person.
Oh, Nomvuyo. Nomvuyo works with Ross and I at Donkin Village.
Yeah?
And she is just a joy in our lives. She is courageous. She's happy. She's intelligent. She's sure. What else can I say about Nomvuyo? She's
And
just
I know- and I
she's got the
completely
most
love
amazing
her-
smile. But I purposely did not catch her with a smile here, because without
It
her
feels
having
like
a
she's
big,
smiling.
she is smiling, but she's got a bigger smile than that.
Okay.
But I think this photo showed more about her.
Yeah, and I
Then a
love the
massive
texture
smile
against
with
the
it.
texture.
Yeah.
The next one, Gary? Oh, Teresa.
Teresa.
Is Teresa the last one?
No, it's still.
Okay, we'll make Teresa the last one. Okay, tell me about Teresa.
I've known Teresa for quite a few years now, and she was one of the Simon LeGras was the very first person I photographed for the book.
Yeah, he was cool.
And Teresa was up there with him. I think she was the third or fourth, maybe, around there. And she was the first person to come back and say, I own this.
Yeah, she did. She said, age spots and bags under my eyes, and I realized that I finally learned to love them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. Okay, we'll
And
keep
that's what it's
Teresa
about.
up there for a while we get on to some other questions.
Pass the wine while you were there.
Yes.
Please.
My broken
Can you
arm.
get your shorts on? Your
My
broken
short
arm.
Well, I mean, it's not broken anymore, but it's can't straighten it. Okay, so the book. If anyone wants to buy the book, how do they buy it, and where do they get it from, and where can you send them to?
Okay, there are 3 places. Fogarty's are keeping stock. So at Fogarty's Bookshop on Main Road, Walmer. Arts on Main in Walmer Park.
Yeah, okay, beautiful.
And then through my website, which is
It's Karl Schoemaker.
karlphoto.co.za.
KARL photo.co.za.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
And through my website.
So it's really
And
worth
then
getting
in the
a look at
next
it.
week or 2, it'll be available on Amazon as well.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, awesome. Okay, so a couple of other questions. NFTs.
Oh,
Do you have any view on it?
I haven't gone down that road. To be honest, I really do not understand it.
I know, neither do I.
It's like you own a piece of work digitally and nobody else can own it.
It's weird to me. I have got a guy coming on in 2 episodes' time. He's going to tell me all about it.
Please send me a reminder.
Yeah, no, you can come and
because
chat.
it confuses the hell out
Yeah,
of
me
me.
too.
I'm old
No,
school.
me too. Oh, me too. I don't understand it. Okay, but just generally, photography, what?
But $65 million for a piece of artwork,
I know,
I can
outlet.
relate to
Yeah,
that.
we can send a digital
I'll go with
image.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Happily
Oh,
sell
there seems to
something
be-
for that.
People
yeah.
are making money. That's the
Yeah.
other thing. So, where's photography going?
Where is it going?
Yeah. I mean,
Does it have a future? Does it?
yeah, like how relevant is photography now when everybody's shooting everything in mediocre level and everyone's got a cell
But what they're
phone?
doing is photography as well. They're all telling their own stories through their
Yeah.
cameras, through their phones, which is what photography is about, is telling stories.
Yeah.
Most art is about telling stories.
So, are you saying that it always has a future because there's always stories to be told?
Photography, yes. Professional photography, that's another question completely.
That's also what I want to know.
Yeah, that's another question completely. Video is
The
taking
CGI
over
and
a lot.
stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
with reels are bigger than stills at the moment. But I think there'll always be a place for a photographer professionally. For example, weddings. Everybody wants to have photos of their weddings. And fortunately, a habit is to skimp on the photographer and get
Always.
And
it's
don't
crazy.
forget, after spending 50 to $500,000 rand, 50,000 $500,000 rand on your wedding, all you have left are your photographs to show for it. You've got to use the cheap photographer who doesn't know what they're doing. That's what you're
The
left
auntie's
with.
brother or something.
Yeah, exactly. I think also for niche photography, so wedding is one of them. What I do with industrial photography,
Yeah.
so corporate photography, there'll always be a need for that. But there are thousands of people out there who bought a camera and added the word photography after their name and call themselves
Yeah.
professionals.
I suppose that's with any industry. There's
Yeah,
always going to
exactly.
be that.
Yeah.
But are you saying that there's always place for good quality niche photography? Because we both know that in product photography, the CGI is taking over that. So, the
Yeah.
skill for that is kind of being lost.
Yeah, so it's those areas where CGI can't do it. Once again, I'm going to repeat weddings, what
Yeah,
I do,
yeah, those people.
mining photography.
Yeah.
It's a big corporate, it's annual reports, they're doing their CSI work, their corporate social investment work, and things like that. They need evidence, they need photographs of that.
Gary, can we put up some of the mining shots? Okay, so before you go to the mining shots, I absolutely love this
shot.
image.
The same person who bought Beyond the Walls and Freedom of Expression.
Bought this. Tell me about this image.
He bought a 1.5 by 1.5 meter print of that.
This is extraordinary. Tell me where this is. And
I love
what.
it. This was taken at a platinum mine, and it's the side of the plant, of the processing plant at a platinum mine. So those are all electrical cables coming down and big pipes that are...
Did you shoot that with Hasselblad as well?
No, that
No.
was shot. It was on assignment, and a lot of times when I'm on assignments for clients, I'm shooting for myself at the same time.
Yeah, it's
And
lovely
we were
thing
on
to
our
do.
way to the smelter, and I saw them, and I stopped, and I I actually did a shot with my cell phone.
This is a cell phone
No,
shot.
no, it's not. I took a shot with my cell phone. I looked at it on my phone. After I took it, I thought, bugger this, and
Put your camera up.
got my Nikon out and took the shot. And we carried on walking.
I mean,
love the shot.
that is, for me, oh man, I just can't stop looking at it because there's so much to it.
Yeah, and it all works. The only thing, what I did do is I flipped the image.
Upside down. So that the bottom is
No,
the top.
horizontally.
Oh, that's when
I flipped the image horizontally.
And why did you do? Oh, just for ease of viewing.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
people read left to right.
Yeah, they do,
So
yeah.
it brings their eye
Yeah.
up to the top and then across and down. It keeps the eye on the shot. So that was tricky doing that backwards.
So it reminds me of Andreas Gursky's work. And he does all this beautiful dramatic lines and shadows. It's just
Very
incredible.
graphic.
Very graphic. Okay, move on to our next image. Let's have a look. Oh, okay, tell us about this.
Coal mines can be beautiful too. This is a coal mine that I shot. Also a stitched image. I'm not sure how many images.
Tell us about
it was.
how you stitch your images. It's like a panoramic.
Yeah, so I will shoot in portrait mode of the camera
Yeah.
and basically start shooting click, 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 click,
With
and
tripod,
then a level
obviously, to
down.
keep
No, I
it-
did by
No,
hand.
really?
I did by
Okay.
hand. Yeah, most people do with a tripod, but I've done
Yeah.
it so often that.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah.
And also, I don't have time
Yeah.
when I'm on top of,
Yeah.
at the top of the
Yeah.
conveyor belt.
It's
And then
incredibly,
this is about 3 rows of images
This
stitched
is so
together.
sharp, and the light was so low. So how did you get that?
Sunset, digital. Digital
Shit,
cameras are
yeah.
magical.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
So
I
you can
mentioned
keep your
dynamic
shadows,
range
yeah.
earlier. Which dynamic range is the amount of light a camera and lots of detail
Yeah.
a camera can capture across dark to light.
I mean, it's very forgiving.
Yeah.
But so, how many images would this have been? How many
This
images
wasn't
were
a hell of a
stitched?
lot. This is probably maybe 6 or 7 images per row, so maybe 21 images.
I mean, the composition of this is quite astounding, actually. There's some jarring bits to watch.
Yeah,
Like-
very bad is that a lot on there you can see, up there,
Yeah, and
where
you
you
keep
see
going down
water
the road,
in
and then in the
That's a big
background-
no-no in mining. You don't want to see water lying
Oh,
around.
really? So that's
But
like
in a
another
plant
thing.
of the coal mine, it's unavoidable.
Sure.
But yeah, the trick is how to make mines look beautiful.
Well, you did.
Yeah, nice late, early sunset shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go, Gary.
Oh, I love this
Tell us
image.
about this.
This is I shot this in Katinya village in Guinea.
Gee, but what were you doing there?
Mining. Mining takes me around. Takes me
Really?
all
That's
over
amazing.
the world. Yeah.
Okay.
And this was an imam at the village, at the mosque, and he was basically, it was him and
That's a him.
that's a him. So that's the imam. That was the imam, and there's 4 of the elders of the mosque was there as well, and the representative of the mine. And there was a heated discussion going, except the imam was just quiet. He just waited. Heated discussion, and
So
then
that's
eventually
patience.
he spoke, and everybody else just fell
That
silent.
for me is patience.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what that image says to me. It says it's obviously age, but it's experience, it's patience, it's intelligence.
And then
I
knowing-
love the watch.
Yeah, me too. And
The
then
old
knowing,
1970s digital watch,
That's it.
80s. Yeah,
and then knowing when to speak.
yeah. And when he opened it, when he spoke, everybody fell silent.
Oh, it's a very
This is
powerful
when
image.
chips go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I've blown that up to about 2 meters across.
You love big
Okay.
images. I mean, when I used to
I
come
always
and
go
see you in your
big.
studio, there's always big, beautiful
Yeah.
images.
Now you learn the hard way. People don't buy big images because there's no space in their house for it.
Yeah, but you can show the images. Yeah. Thanks,
So, yeah,
Gary.
I love that shot. Oh,
Okay, but
Colombia.
we have to get out of
yes.
this because you have to see everything. Yeah.
There's a. Okay, I'm going to step
I'm
this
also
way.
going to step away. Okay, tell us about this.
This was in a village called Cajamarca in Colombia, and the village is it's tiny. You can walk the whole town. It's not a village; it's a town. You can walk the whole town in about 2 hours. There's very few cars there, just a couple of taxis. Otherwise, everybody's on foot or bicycle. And this is where I was based when I was shooting in Colombia. I was shooting up in the mountains with gold exploration. And the one day I had time to walk around the village, that's where I got this shot. It's one of those moments you just cannot set this up. It stopped, I saw it, I picked up my camera, raised the camera, took 1-2 frames, and then it was over. Because the second frame, the butcher was looking directly at me, and the third frame, the one dog had looked the other way. So the first frame wasn't, it's just, don't even think, just shoot. And get it as quickly as, and this is a series of 3 images of shop fronts.
And it's also uncharacteristically in color
Yes.
for your documentary
Yeah,
work.
yeah, I love black and white.
Yeah.
Absolutely. At Varsity, First year of photography with OB is you do black and white
Yeah.
only. And if he thinks you have mastered it, then from second year you can start doing color work.
And that's because,
Color for color's sake.
no, but
Is that
what's the
bad?
beauty of black and white?
There's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
And it shows its raw emotion. And I'm gonna use the Ted Grant quote again. Is you photograph somebody in color, you photograph their clothes. Photograph them in black and white, you photograph their soul.
So it's 100%. I
Yeah.
agree with that, yeah.
So this is one of the few color shots I've done.
Yeah, that struck me when I
Yeah.
looked through these images. Thanks, Gary.
Ah.
Oh, wow, that's a point of view.
Mining. No, both of us. leave
Tell me
it
about
short.
the
Cut my
mining.
head
Tell
off.
me what it is, how you got into it, and why is it so appealing for you?
When I came out of varsity, I walked the streets in Joburg to seeing photographers with a portfolio under my arm trying to get a job, and I did in a studio, doing commercial work. And one of our clients was a IT tech company that approached me and said, "We want you to work for us." I said, "Do you want?" I said, "No, we want you to open an ad agency, in-house ad agency, so they could sort of bypass a 16.5% commission."
Oh,
That's, yeah, they were trying to save money. So I thought, oh, what the hell? So I did that. And after a while, I thought, and I saw a job come up at Goldfields of South Africa as in-house photographer, which I applied for. and I got-
Goldfields.
Goldfields of South Africa. Then it was GFSA, before it became Goldfields.
Okay.
And I applied for it, got the job, and that's how I got into mining.
And you love it.
Oh, love it. And I did mining photography for maybe 18 months, veered into the path of IT and internet in the mining industry, internal communications marketing. And when I left the mining industry was end of 2008, I'd started up the knowledge management discipline for the company I was working for, Anglo Gold Ashanti.
Knowledge
Global.
management, what is that?
Let me put it this way, when people resign or leave a company, the company suffers from knowledge evaporation because everything that person knows,
IP
they
goes,
take it
yeah.
with them.
Okay.
So with knowledge management, it's trying to capture that knowledge and store it within the company. So when people leave, you retain what they know.
Okay.
So with that, I designed and implemented a lot of tools within the company
Oh, I mean,
where we could capture the
outside
knowledge.
the photography.
Yeah, completely. I stopped photography for 12, 13 years
Oh my gosh, so what made you go back?
because I missed it.
Oh.
And at the time, I was living in Johannesburg, and end of 2008, we moved on to Port Elizabeth.
And that's when you started work at Play.
Work at Play, yeah. Early 2000, I took 3 months off, and early 2000, I started up Work at Play.
It's quite
and we've been doing
courageous
it
to
ever
do
since. Yeah. And then rebranded it in the last year and a half to Karl Schoemaker.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that too.
Yeah, it was very brave.
It's
But
very
coming out
brave,
of
especially
two
having
corporate
two
jobs,
kids and whatever.
Yeah, we had money as well,
Yeah.
fortunately, being in
Okay.
corporate.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So we were able to afford to start, I was able to afford to start that company. Buy computers, buy cameras.
Yeah, I remember when you moved to P, I used to see your car going to Theodore.
Oh boy, did I overdo that branding. Sure.
No, we all knew who you were, don't worry.
Yeah,
Thanks, Gary. Okay, I love
me
this.
too. This is quite a recent shot. I didn't realize that. Oh no, this is one I supplied. Yeah, this is a recent one. So shooting underground is fun. I really, really enjoyed it. It can be challenging. This one I actually lit though.
So you bought in lights.
Yeah, I brought in 3 lights.
Would there
But
be
they're little
LED lights?
little
Or?
LED panels, about
Oh,
little
so no
Godox M1.
electricity,
So
yeah.
one behind, one underneath the drill, which I've edited out, and then one from
Okay.
from
Yeah, they were.
that side.
So these are LED lights, battery operated.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, yeah,
rechargeables.
yeah, okay.
They're
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rechargeables, yeah.
Okay, so you lit this because it was just too dark, or because you wanted
It was
the drama?
pretty, yeah, it was dark in there, but I wanted to add the drama to it.
Yeah, I love that.
There's light, but the underground now, since then, there is actually light. You can, okay, I was going to point to the image. Okay, let's go
There.
over,
Oh, your hand
now I'm out. But
disappears, yeah.
at the top there's a little stripe, so there's LED
Yeah,
lighting. And
okay.
a lot of the mines you go in now in underground are all very, very, very
Well
well
lit.
lit with
Okay.
LED strip lighting on the ceilings.
Okay,
and
so that
the
helps your photography too.
Yeah, but it helps them. More importantly, it's a
Yeah,
bit
no,
safer.
totally, yeah.
It's a safety. It's a safety thing, so they can actually
Okay.
see hazards, for lack of a
Okay.
better word.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
hazards. It's very hazardous down there. I wouldn't want
Yeah,
Don't you get
hello.
hot and sweaty and...
Very. I get very sweaty. That's a gross point you didn't need to know.
Too much
But
information.
look, they control the temperature of the air underground.
Yeah.
They've got massive ice plants on the surface. They're pumping
Okay.
crushed ice down to cool the air down. But it still gets pretty hot and cramped.
What are they mining for?
This is a platinum mine. So you can see the slope, the hanging wall, which is the ceiling, is
Yeah.
actually quite high. It's about 160, I think, 170.
Sure.
So there's quite a lot of space.
I think we have some more mining shots, Gary. Oh, there you go. Let's move out the way.
Yeah, this is a smaller stope. This is about a 90 centimeter stope with hanging walls that high. But you can
What
see
is
these
he
spots.
doing?
He's drilling. So he's drilling a hole for the explosive. So you can see, you can just make out a person at the back,
Such a hectic thing to do. So they put the explosives and then they all disappear and it explodes.
something like that.
Ooh.
Simply put, yeah. So I went into that stope further down behind them, about 70 meters, maybe 60, 70 meters below where they're actually putting the explosives in the holes, and photographed that.
Are these images commissioned images?
Yeah.
Okay, for the mining companies to show
Yeah.
people what they're doing. Okay.
Yeah. So these are used in annual reports to societies, results presentations and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, they must be powerful to give with like those presentations.
Yeah,
And,
the one you showed before was quite recent, and they were over the moon.
I'm sure.
They're very happy.
Okay, Gary. Ah,
Oh.
what's this? This
I
feels
shot
like the
this in-
Karoo.
Yeah, I shot this is actually KwaZulu-Natal.
Oh, is it?
So yeah,
Drakensberg.
yeah, this is up right near the Mozambican border. I was walking down with a whole lot of ladies down to a natural spring where they're collecting their water for the day. And as I was walking down, I saw these guys herding the cattle. It's another one of those moments, drop to one knee, get the shots, and then move on. It was
Yeah, it's
just
beautiful.
right place, right time, right
Yeah.
timing.
Sometimes it's just about being there
Yeah.
and then having accessibility.
Yeah, this print we've also done up to 2 meters across, and it's just spectacular. I've done it in black and white, but this one
Yeah,
is a
I feel
colour
this is a
shot.
colour image.
In black and white, it's lovely, but in color, it's just
Yeah.
it looks like a painting. Sure.
So
Okay, sure.
before we go into a couple of other images, I've got a few more questions.
Braces himself again.
What makes a superb, brilliant, sublime photographer? What is it?
What makes a good photographer?
Yeah, what are the components?
I think the most important is having the eye. Having
Is it
the
something
eye
you're
to
born
able-
with? Or
I think so. You can get taught it at varsity or going to study on what to look for, but
is
a
it
lot
in
of
your
people
DNA?
have it naturally.
Yeah.
An example of a photographer, a local photographer, she's moved away now, was Nikki M. Nikki
yeah,
Murray, she's
yeah.
killed.
Yeah.
She came to me, she spoke to me when she first wanted to do photography. We're talking, I was still in Parliament Street, so we're talking 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Left her job, bought a camera, she wanted to be waving, and I just rolled my eyes, and oh God, another one.
Which is good.
She's brilliant.
Very good.
She has an eye, she is a phenomenal photographer.
So it's that eye. So it's something
Yeah.
you're born with and then you cultivate more.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the ability to look through your camera and see that image without even thinking about it, or just walking around and you see something that, because when people walk around, there's a lot of peripheral noise that's happening. See, when I'm looking at Marion right now, but I can also see the lights, I can
Yeah.
see the green
As photographers,
screen
we do.
and Gary on the side.
Yeah.
But what you need to do is that you need to cut all that out. And sometimes, like with photography, sometimes it's not always what you photograph, it's also what you don't photograph.
Yeah, totally.
There's that famous photograph during the Vietnam War of a demonstration of a girl holding a flower.
Against the guy with the
Against the guy with
I
the
know that
right
image.
shield.
It's amazing.
If you had to crop off the guys with the right
Yeah.
shield, and it's just a girl holding a
Yeah,
flower.
no, it's amazing what you don't show and what you do show.
Yeah.
I remember just going back to what makes a good photographer is Annie Leibovitz spoke about why she thinks she's so successful. It was because when she was a child, she used to go on these long road trips, and she used to look out the window. So her whole life she was framing through a window.
Through a car window.
So she,
That's interesting. I
Yeah,
haven't
yes,
heard
a
that
true
before.
story. She said all the time that they went on these long. She was seeing things through the window, so
Sure.
she was framing. Yeah, amazing.
And that's what it's about. It's
Yeah.
framing and cropping.
Yeah,
it's,
it is that.
it's framing within a frame.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I think you are born with something, and you either let it escape or you take it and run with it like you did, or have, or do. So, what makes you
Stubborn.
satisfied as a photographer? When do you get to a point of satisfaction?
Do you ever?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
With any art, it's like you look at painters, sculptors. Is their work ever finished? When do they actually say, "Okay, this painting is now finished"? And is
Yeah.
it truly?
It's
in
the
their
same as
mind?
editing. Where
No, they have to stop
Yeah.
somewhere, and it's like
Yeah,
a photographer
yeah.
as well. I think what's really cool is that I'm going to go back to varsity when Obi would
Yeah.
say, like, visualize it in your head and then get it. And when you pre-visualize an image and then you actually take the image you get in it, and it is what you pre-visualize.
Then that's it.
It's like, oh
That's
yeah.
bingo.
Oh,
That's the
like,
satisfaction.
oh yeah, that's the satisfaction.
Okay, so that's the moment. All
Yeah.
right, yeah. Okay, let's move on to some more images. Gary's been sleeping.
You need like little balls
There,
of paper to throw it in. Oh,
oh, this has got a story.
yeah, you need to move out the way. Okay, that's even,
Yeah, well,
that's
I'm
better.
gone, yeah.
I was shooting for Grenica. They were tendering for the N1 and N2 roads in Cape Town, Western Cape. So the N1 and N2 going out of Cape Town, they were tendering to redo the roads. This is quite a few years
Yeah, I
ago.
was about to say.
And they commissioned me to take photographs of the roads for them and the communities and all the rest, and this is part of it. I shot this in a informal settlement next to the Cape Flats called Lovers Lane in Paarl.
Lover's Lane. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
in Paarl. And the guy who ran the informal settlement it's either Ronald or Rodney. I'm sure it was Ronald. Took me around and he says, okay, like, he's okay for him to be here to take photos, just let him do it. But he was very strict as well about alcohol and drug use. It was not allowed. So I spent a few hours walking around photographing people, photographing the place, and I came across this lady, and with her I got her to pose. She was doing something else. I said, just come stand here quickly, and she just put her hand up there and just looked at me, and that face, all shot with available light. I avoid a flash like the plague.
Yeah, me too.
I hate using it. It looks, the one reflection, it looks like a ring flash, but trust me, it's not. If you go close,
No, I
you
can
see me
see, yeah,
standing.
but that's your eyes
You can see
anyway.
me standing there. And
But
what she
so-
has been through, with that face has been,
No, it's a
beaten
whole life.
and-
And also
but
the peg on her.
that is what makes the shot.
Yeah, for me, she's
That's
in
it,
motion,
because-
she's in process.
No, but that's what makes, because to me, it doesn't matter who you are, you still got to do your washing.
Yeah, exactly.
You still got to do your chores. You still got to do life.
But I mean, you didn't really direct it. You just put her in the light and she
I
gave
just
you
asked
that
her to
shot.
stand there.
Yeah,
I just
so
said,
it's
"Come
different to
stand here for me."
directing her.
Yeah.
You just put her into...
And she's actually a series of 3 images of 2 other women as well.
But also that background.
The corrugated.
And
And
there's parallel and horizontal. It's an amazing image.
Yeah.
So Norma says, great stuff.
I call this image I've titled Wasdag.
Vasta.
Yeah. Wash day. Washing
Wash,
day.
of course, wash
Yeah,
day. Sorry,
yeah,
my
washing
Afrikaans is
day.
not so good. Norma, it's great stuff.
Gino, like
Yeah.
my songs, when is it finished?
When are they finished? Yeah, they never. Okay, so what sort of photographer will you be at 70?
Wow. Good question.
I'll have
I
some
won't
wine
be
while I
doing,
listen to
yeah,
this.
let's grab the wine. I won't be doing mining photography anymore because I'll be too old. Actually, I don't know when the cut-off is for that. Marion's having a good laugh. in the
Laugh, I
corner
know, I
there.
bet you she is.
I believe I'll still be taking photographs till the day I die.
No, me too. Yeah,
I'll probably be working on books. I've got a few more books.
Yeah, I wanted
see
to ask you, what's
that
the
I
next
wanna do.
project?
I think at that age, 70, I'll be more doing, I think, more people, portraiture,
Yeah.
street photography, that sort of thing.
Your
I'll be
documentary
that
is so good.
that
The
dodgy
old guy with the camera.
yeah.
They say,
and
keep
stuff
away
like
from my
that.
children.
Like I said, dodgy.
Dodgy, yeah.
But yeah, books. I've got the next book I want to do, which hopefully I'll have ready for next year, is a book on my mining work.
I hope so.
'Cause I have
Reminding me-
a
because it's also something we
fortunate
don't
work
see.
in
General
mind.
public
Yeah.
doesn't ever see
See,
that stuff.
I'm so used to it now.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, it's
and I've
astounding.
realized recently on Instagram I've been putting a lot of mining work on my Instagram feed. I'm getting very, very good feedback. 'Cause
'cause
as you
it's
said, people going,
beautiful.
like, wow, it's like a
We've
whole
never
other
seen
world.
on there.
Yeah.
And you make it, well, not you make it, you capture the drama, you capture that unbelievable hard work and the sweat and the blood and the tears and the fundamental part of South Africa, white
Yeah.
crew, you know, it's like a history.
Shoot from the hip.
Shoot from the hip, that's your
Yeah.
style.
And the majority of, except for the one we saw in the soap in the platinum one, where I actually added lights,
Yeah.
the majority of them
Are
are all
not.
available lights.
I think
I'll
there's
shoot
some
them
more.
like that,
Gary,
yeah.
are there more ones?
And once
Yeah,
again, the beauty
sure,
of
I have to
digital.
move out
this
the way
was
for
in
this
a-
one, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There you
We're
go.
little
Okay, we can
midgets
be
again.
small thing.
Yeah, we're like Ant-Man.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was it.
Wow.
Yeah, that was same platinum mine where I did the cables. So we were on
But
the
you're
way
very
from
close to him, yeah. Is it?
I know, I was
this
right
looks
next to him. I was
like
shooting with a 24
I
mil.
was just going to say, it's a wide lens, yeah.
2470, yeah. Very, very close. But in there, there's a lot of sulfur in it. So
You can smell it, actually. I mean, I can
And
almost feel that heat.
So hot,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jeepers.
And these guys are full dress. Oh, that's the same area.
Go back, yeah.
You can see they're completely dressed in leather. And well, the next shot's actually perfect.
Show us, Gary.
Same place.
Okay, but that looks like it's in a room. Oh, it's in a
Well, it's
small
actually
room.
very open. If you look behind, you can't, but if you look that way, it's open. It's not enclosed at all.
Okay,
So
so
this
some
is
of
what
the
they call tapping.
tapping.
Yeah, so this is at a platinum mine where they're tapping the slag to get the slag,
What is the slag?
out of the furnace. It's
What
the
is
waste.
that? The waste.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of the furnace.
And for people who are not sure about exposure and stuff, that would have been quite a slow exposure to get.
No,
No,
look at how the sparks have been. The sparks is hardly
The
any
sparks are
movement.
good.
I probably shot that at about a 40th of a second.
oh yeah,
40,
40,
50th of a second around there.
Yeah, because everything else is sharp.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, it's quite dramatic though.
that's very dramatic.
Yeah.
Sure.
Gary snuck the next image up already.
Yeah, tell us about this. Is one of my
Yeah,
favorite
it's a
ones.
very important image.
Tell me why.
I shot this in Tanzania, in a place called Gator Village. And on this image, you can see I focused on the curtain, that
Yeah.
lace plastic curtain being backlit by the sun, where the little girl's out of focus and a silhouette. I didn't want it because you don't want the identity.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I
Yeah.
shot it at an AIDS orphanage. So it's an orphanage of,
Was
of
this a
children whose
commission?
parents. This was on one of a commission job with the mines. And so obviously the kids are all orphaned, their parents have died of HIV/AIDS. So that's why it was so important to keep her as a silhouette. When you see the shot, it's like, oh, nice shot. You know,
Until you know
it's
the
pretty with
story.
a curtain. Until you know the story, then you see it in a whole different way.
What was she doing? Was she running her hands across the?
She was actually about to go into the loo,
Oh, oh, thanks.
to be honest.
Well-
Yeah, she was about to go into the loos there.
Oh, that's been. How old was she?
She must be about 11 years old, maybe. I got photos where all the kids came out to greet us.
But you can't show them
No,
because
I can't
they,
show them.
yeah, because
Yeah.
they have to be not identifiable.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's amazing when you hear the story how you see
Yeah,
it different,
totally.
how you see the image differently.
That's why I'm so interested in the backstories. Thanks, Gary. Oh, sure.
Oh, this.
Yes. Yes.
And man, and woman, and people at the bottom. I love this shot.
Me too. What is
This
he
is,
doing?
he's actually servicing a TBM. A TBM is a tunnel boring machine.
Okay.
So this is boring a tunnel, I think about 8 meters in diameter. So it's a huge thing with lots of teeth on it. It just like turns and turns and eats its way through the earth. And they stopped to service it, so he's right on the. So I climbed into the TBM with him, because above him is a conveyor belt. So as it's tunneling in, the conveyor belt is spewing out the waste on the other side.
The people that you photograph must get a sense of pride that you're there capturing them. Or is it a hindrance for them?
It wasn't a hindrance. The one thing I tried to do is not get in the way,
Yeah.
because production must continue.
Yeah.
Production mustn't
Yeah,
stop
yeah, yeah, it
because I'm
doesn't
there.
stop.
But
Did
here
they-
they were servicing the machine, so the machine had stood still, and I put it well,
That
on
way.
that
Yeah.
side. I'd lit it. So there I used one of my external lights.
But
First and
there's a
last.
sense of pride in that. So what I want to know is, by photographing them, do they feel that you're honouring them, or is it just another day at the office?
I believe so, but also what's important with what happens a lot is that we try and organise, or the people I'm working with will try and organise to get a print to that person,
Oh, do they? I was going to ask you,
which
do they
they
get the pictures?
they take home to their family,
Oh,
because
yeah,
their
that's
family don't
fantastic.
understand what they
What
go
they do,
through. And
that's what I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
I work underground, but there's no comprehension of that.
Yeah.
So when they see that print of them where they're working, it's like,
So that
The scale
speaks
is
to
cluttered
a
to the
question
floor.
I was going to ask you earlier on, but I nearly forgot, but thank goodness I haven't.
I'm so glad I reminded you.
It is, which was photography is evidence. It's a witness.
Yeah. It's capturing a split second in time that can never be
Yeah.
changed, can never be taken away,
And it's the truth.
and can never be repeated.
No, this will never happen again.
Yeah.
I mean, he might do the same things, but not at the time. And I mean, I just love that it's evidence, that it, especially documentary,
Yeah.
is around, this is what it is.
The definitive moment.
That's exactly,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about. Is it? Please put up the picture of the pier with the two people. I want you to tell me about this image.
Yeah.
Because for me, when I first walked into your office so many years ago and I saw this picture, my breath got taken away.
Yeah, I took a picture in 2010.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's a young girl being hugged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There you are. I'm moving out the way for this one.
Me too, even though we're going to become ant people.
So tell us.
Okay, these are my nieces, Tammy and Tennille.
Oh,
So their family, well, obviously. I took this photo about 10 seconds after they'd scattered the ashes of their parents over the pier.
No, I did not know that.
So it's
And
a
there's a
very,
storm
it's a
in the
very, very
background.
important image for me and personally. And you won't see it on your screens now, but on Tamien's cheek there's a tear, a real tear on the cheek. And the rain started coming in, so it was perfect timing. I was just, the grandmother was standing right in front of me there, up until the last second, because I'm kind of, Barbara, move.
And did
Which
you?
I couldn't, but she moved, and I got the one frame.
And just tell me the crop. Was it because you saw the storm, or was it just
It
because?
was part of the image.
Yeah, okay. Because
I
it would
got
have been
lucky
very
as well.
easy
I got
just
lucky
to.
as well because there's lyrics of Lady Gaga on there as well. which,
I can see.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, and then it started raining briefly after that, which we all ran into Barney's and drank tequila,
As one does.
as one does. Yeah.
Gary, won't you pull up the image of the vulture? I just want to touch on an interesting. So I want to ask you. This was taken by Kevin Carter, famous South African photographer who was part of the Bang Bang Club with Ken Oosterbroek, and a few months after this image, he won a Pulitzer Prize for this. And a few months after this, he committed suicide because I think he felt, I don't know what happened after this image, whether that child wasn't taken by the vulture or not, but he couldn't live with the fact that he couldn't save this child. And I want my question to you, and it's always been a perennial question for me, is when do we intervene and when do we document? When there's a life and death situation, pretty much like the Bang Bang Club when they used to go into the townships and there were necklacings and they were photographing the necklacings. They're hardcore, journalists, photojournalists. But at what point do we intervene as photographers? If our job is that we are recording.
Thanks for this.
Sorry, I didn't want to spoil the party, but it's an important discussion with photographers.
It is. And how will you ever know until you're actually in that situation?
Yeah,
Of what your instinct. My instinct, and people might lambast me for this, is get the shot first and help after.
Because
If
it is
there's no
important
other
for the
help
world to
available.
see stuff.
Yeah, it is important.
This image was taken in Sudan, and it is a very, very important image.
Yeah.
So you would take the shots and then call
And
for
then
help.
help how I can straight
Yeah.
afterwards.
You would-
If there's no other
I
help
would do the
around.
same. I don't
Because
think
I
that's
think you
our
nailed
job.
it. You nailed it. It is so important to get that image out there, so that to get that communication out to the rest of the world.
It is because
is
we wouldn't have known
happening.
that
'Cause that is
stuff.
hectic.
That's hectic. So the reason, so Kevin Carter lived with this guilt, but I read that, and I hope this is correct, that he couldn't intervene because there were soldiers with guns on him, and they would have shot him or shot the child. So, and he could, I mean, he must have had terrible PTSD, etc., etc. But anyway, it was just a question around how, to what level do we observe and document, and to what level are we human beings? And you saying there's both.
It is a mix.
Yeah.
It's like you've got a job to do as well.
Yeah.
But your sense of right and wrong has to come into it at some stage, because that's stronger.
Yeah, I mean, because some images that we've seen, the war stuff, I can't do war stuff. I'm not a war photographer, but I've spent hours looking at Ken Oosterbroek stuff and understanding it, and it's just not part of my makeup. But but it's such important work.
I haven't been put in that situation.
Yeah,
so
no, I haven't either.
I don't know what I would.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I would get the job done.
Yeah, it's important.
Oh.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Take us to wherever you want to. Okay, go back. No, wait, first we have to go. Go back. We're not ready for that image. Oh. No, it's my bad.
Not
My
your
bad.
fault.
There you go. Tell us about that. Nice. Greener pastures.
Oh, yes. Well, Valley of Desolation.
Gosh, but that's when it's so green.
This was quite a few years ago I took this shot. And underestimated the weather because I was in t-shirt and shorts and frozen my
Freezing.
off.
Freezing.
Yeah. Funny enough, when I took this shot, this has got a very Lord of the Rings feel to it.
Yeah, it does. It's like
And-
quite
and, yeah.
ethereal.
And just after I took the shot, 20 seconds after the sun had dipped down and everything was orange. And it was a quintessential sunset beauty and all
But
the
this
rest
is
of
more
it.
dramatic
But
for
this
me.
is better.
Yeah.
I prefer this one.
So a lot of your instinct and talent is around timing. You probably don't know it, but you instinctively know it. When to shoot and when to wait.
And I think, oh, there it is.
Oh, that's
So
the next
like,
one.
that's
Okay, I'm
like
with you.
seconds or minutes later,
Yeah, that's very beautiful.
where the sky is more important than anything else. Where the previous one, it's everything.
Yeah.
That was shot on the blood. It was freezing up there.
Where is that?
That is part of the freedom of expression show.
Okay, with the prisons again.
Yeah, so this image is called From Processing, because when you go up the stairs, it took you to the police and the courts
I don't
upstairs,
even know
where
about what
the
happened in
people were
there.
processed and fingerprinted, and they were brought down and put in the holding
Jeepers,
cells.
I don't want to know
Remember,
about
these were
this.
only holding cells, so people weren't held there for a long time.
Okay.
Some were waiting trials, and I think the most people spent in there were a few months.
I don't want to.
days,
I don't want
weeks,
to know where they
months,
ended
yeah.
up. It's too much for me.
Yeah, but it's quite hectic down there.
If you weren't a photographer,
If I what?
weren't a photographer,
Yeah.
what would you be?
I always wanted to be an actor when I was a kid.
In a way, he is a bit.
When I was a kid, I always, what do you want to be? I want to be an actor.
Well, you still could.
Yeah.
You know, at 70,
It's
you
never
could
too
be doing
late.
both.
Exactly. It's never
They look
too
for
late
your
to do
look.
anything. Yeah.
They do. You've got it.
So, yeah.
And then I want to ask
Oh,
you.
Peter. How's it, Peter? Peter Badenhorst.
Oh, Pete!
Jeez.
Peter Barnhorst! Jeepers, nice to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in.
Oh, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Wow.
what a cool thing. I'd like to ask Peter a question, but I'll wait for him until he's in the studio when he's back in
There
PE.
you go.
Okay, so I want to know about some of your iconic, your own iconic photographers and images that have inspired you.
Okay, my biggest inspiration, I say, is Obi Oberholzer.
Yeah,
Well, he taught me, he was my lecturer at varsity.
he's so good with colour
Oh,
too, hey?
brilliant colorist, brilliant color printer as well. He's one of my biggest inspirations. There are three in total. So it's Obi, the second was Philip Mostert. He studied photography with
With
Tim and
you,
myself at
yeah.
Rhodes. Yeah, he was ahead of us at Rhodes.
Where's he now?
Still doing photography, he's based in Johannesburg, mining photographer as well.
Okay,
A
cool.
lot of he does other, but most predominantly mining, and he's a god. Well, to Tim, I hope you don't mind me putting you in here, but Tim and myself, he is a god. He's brilliant. And then the third would be Henri Cartier-Bresson,
And that's the definitive moment.
the definitive moment. Because
Okay.
that's a lot of shooting from the hip documentary style photography is capturing that split-second moment in time, which Henri Cartier-Bresson coined the phrase the definitive moment.
Do we have a modern day person like him?
Everybody with a cell phone.
But are they doing that sort of work though? What I mean
Not
is,
that
do we
kind of
have
work.
that talent?
Well, funny if Gary brought up the image already, is one of my
Gary, you can put it up.
yeah
The last one.
The last one. That one. That is a shot by Graham.
Okay, we have to
Evans.
get out of the
We're going
picture
to get
because
actually, if he shoots
right
us, then we'll
out,
probably
yeah.
fit on the floor. Yes, we
Okay,
do.
we're on the floor.
Yeah. This is a shot by Graham Abbott. He's based in Barrydale in the Western Cape. And when I have the time, I give a course in photography. And I
Awesome.
always go, what is the essence of a photograph? And this is it.
Tell us,
It's
talk
one
us
of
through
my
it.
favorite images.
Talk us
And
through
Tim's too. He said, make sure I
Oh, Tim,
said
it's
that.
also
Tim
Tim's
Hopper.
favourite image.
Also Tim's
Okay, cool.
favourite
And probably
image.
Peter Bardenhorst too.
And this absolutely defines the definitive moment of Henri Cartier-Bresson, of a moment in time. But what's beautiful about this, and I wish I can get in there and split things up, but there's so many images. You've got this dodgy guy on the right hand side who's breaking all the rules of photography of being on the edge. Rather, is it in or out?
Yeah.
So you've got that guy. You've got the busy business people in their suits and briefcases rushing to wherever they're going in this train station. You've got this couple in the middle
Having a kiss.
having a kiss or some sort of moment. And if you put your hand over the guy on the right and over the business people on the left, it's an image on itself.
Totally.
The composition is beautiful. And then what I always said, and when I told Graham Abbott about this, he always, if I remember correctly, he was going on about the couple. With me, it's the lady in the floral dress, between the businessmen walking
Yeah, she's
away.
walking away. And
And
why is that
that's
for
what
you?
gets me about. And the last thing is the clock, top left.
Could
It's
it
a
say-
definitive
could it
moment
say-
in time. It's even got the time to the second. 1842 and 15 seconds was the time this shot was taken, and it'll never be ever be repeated again.
So when is it luck and when is it not luck? Or is there always an element of luck?
I think so. There's an element of being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's luck, I always say good luck comes from hard work and good preparation. That's where luck comes from.
Yeah, and that's what I feel about you. And I also want to add in there that there's instinct, which we can't explain. It just is a feeling. Often when I shoot, I just go, that's a feeling, I'm going with it. And then you get that shot. You know, it's like a thing in you.
What's very important about this was shot in film.
Sure.
This is analog, not digital. So he probably took, I don't know how many frames, maybe 3 or 4 frames, maybe only one.
So it's a very powerful image.
Yeah, I love it. I've managed to get a handprint of it
Have you?
recently from him, yeah.
But I love AJ's is closed as well. Because
Yeah.
it's quarter to 8, quarter to 7, is it? Yeah.
And technically it's brilliant because his shutter speed's slow enough to show there's movement with the business people hurrying around trying to get to their jobs,
Yeah, it's amazing.
but fast enough to capture the lady in the floral dress. He says in a romantic sort of
Yeah,
way.
no, I see that. She's on her way out.
Yeah.
She just kissed the guy who's walking this way.
What, the
Great
dodgy
hold on us.
dude?
The dodgy dude! The dodgy dude's going, oh, come back, come back. You can read it
I
anything.
hope Graham Abbott gets to see this.
I hope so. Well, it'll be on
I'll
YouTube
message him.
anyway
Yeah,
for
I'll
him
message
to ever
him.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always going to be on.
My absolute favourite photograph of all time. And it's a South African photographer and not that old.
Yeah, I love it. So I've got a couple more questions for you, and then we can wrap it up and go and have some nice food.
Hit me.
Um,
I'm going to have some more wine.
please,
Thank God
Graham
I'm not
lost
driving.
90% of the film he shot on that trip he made. Did you know that?
Where?
Tim,
Really?
No.
I didn't know that.
how did he lose it? That's a terrible story.
Tim, I hope you're going to answer that.
Stolen his backpack in Spain. God, what a terrible thing.
It's like, Tim, it's like your car getting stolen recently with all your negs. Similar sort of thing.
Look, I also know that Ken
Terrible.
Oosterbrook's widow had all its entire collection. She was moving home, Monica, and she had all his negatives, Ken Oosterbrook stuff, stolen, gone.
I know some of Ken Oosterbrook's stuff has been curated by
Yeah.
a lady in Johannesburg. I've just gone blank on her name now.
She did an exhibition.
Because I organised a print of his for a colleague of mine. Anyway, her name will come to me when I remember.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably my last question is, what is it exactly that we do as photographers? What is it exactly? If you had to explain to an alien, what's the point of photography?
Oh, wow. Are we talking alien from another country or from another planet?
Someone who
Okay,
doesn't know me.
I'm just trying to avoid the answer for a minute.
You're only thinking. Like, what's the point?
To record.
For what?
To record moments in time. Prosperity, for storytelling, memories.
And do we do it for ourselves, or do we do it for others
We always do it for ourselves.
first?
Yeah, first. Yourselves first. Everybody's inherently selfish. Everybody.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then if they can make a buck out of it, then it's
Then it's nice. Then it
prosperity.
becomes
Yeah.
our job. Then it becomes our job.
Yeah.
And so what did he
Peter's
say?
right.
Peter's amazing how many great photographers. That'll be you too, Peter.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And Tim?
And you?
Oh no, well, at least I knew what I had, and you had scanned. Okay, well done. Oh shit.
Oh, so Tim did scan them. I was hoping.
God.
I was hoping he had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same as your hard drive collapsing and you don't have copies.
Yeah. Nowadays with digital, you know, like people say, what if you get robbed? You know, they can take it. I got mugged in New Brighton, and they stole my camera.
In England?
No, here.
Oh, in this New Brighton.
In Eastern Cape. Sigh.
Sigh.
I was shooting for Coca-Cola, and while I was getting the one image, I got mugged. Myself and
Oh, that's terrible.
and Lon Wabel. But what I did, and the police chatted me afterwards saying, if these were pros, you probably would have been shot. Is before I gave them, I took my cards out the camera. I said, I'm keeping these. I want my photos, and I handed over the camera. And that's just it. Everything can be destroyed. You can lose everything, your equipment, everything, but your images,
Yeah.
once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
Like what happened to Graham and to Tim is just
Sure.
terrible. So yeah, so keep the cards and keep the images because I can replace everything else.
So my last question is, you can choose one of your images to take with you wherever you go in this world. Only one. Which one is it?
That would be the one of my nieces on the piano. Without a
I
doubt.
was hoping you were going to say that.
Yeah, without a doubt. I've
Carl,
got lots of favourites, but that one.
that one for me is also just insane.
Is a piece of my heart.
And I want to thank you because you've shared a lot of stuff I didn't know about you, even though I thought I knew you. And just thanks for sharing and being on the show and coming to tell us about your images, and just that you offer so much to the world, and your photography continues to throw me into questioning, into curiosity, into trying to understand it, and it makes for huge inspiration for me, and it makes me a better photographer. So, and I mean that from the heart. I don't ever walk away from your work not feeling touched. It doesn't matter if it's on Instagram, and if you want to follow Karl, what is it, Karl Schoemaker?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Follow him on
Karl
Insta
Schoemaker.
because his Insta stuff is really good, and his social media is really well curated. Is that Marion? It helps having a helpful wife,
Yeah.
partner, and I think that you should carry on doing books, and I think you should carry on teaching because
Thank you.
there's a lot to come from you.
Oh, it was nice to crack the nod.
Oh, shit. Thanks very much. Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Marion.
And thank you.
Yeah, of course. Oh. Tell us when we're out of here so that we can have another sip.
I'm going to have another sip anyway.
Anyway, yeah, me too. Cheers,
Let's
cheers.
sit down, coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot, never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, have a Gino shot.
Gino's shot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, get to Gino's spot.